Hey, welcome back to the channel. I've been getting a lot of work done on the Z while I've been waiting for my transmission to get back from Drift Motion. It should have been here like last week or even the week before, but they forgot to ship it back for like 2 weeks after they rebuilt it. So I was waiting on a transmission that wasn't coming, so they finally shipped it after I called them, and it's on the way. But what I've been working on is the transmission mount that I had to chisel off of the car. So if you watched me remove the transmission, I had to chisel off one of the ears that hold the transmission mount onto the car. So there's one on the passenger and the driver's side. And I had to cut one of them off in order to get the transmission out of the car. And I was going to design a different way to mount the transmission. Maybe build something to bolt to the frame rails or something like that. But after a lot of thinking and looking and reviewing, the easiest and most simple way for me to get this done was to kind of just rebuild the ear. So that's what I have here. It goes up on the trans tunnel like this. And I'm going to bolt it into the car versus weld it, which it was before. So that way, this can be removed if I ever need to pull the transmission by itself again. This 1JZ and R154 wasn't designed for this car, so clearances are tight, and that's the reason why I'm having to do this in the first place, because when I installed this, I installed it all as one piece. So the engine and transmission came in at one time, and I didn't have to go through this back when I installed it. This ear is going to be bolted into the car, so that's what we have. This reinforcement plate here and one bolt in the top. I've got a hole drilled to where the bottom bolt is going to go, and you can see I've been spot welding it in just to reinforce this sheet metal here. The metal on the actual mount, you can see where these spot welds are. That's a pretty beefy piece of metal on the back side. So I just needed to reinforce this side of the metal with some thicker gauge metal there. And by doing it this way, I can still use the CX Racing transmission mount. I can use all of my factory stuff, put it back the way it was before, but at least now it is removable if I do need to work on it again in the future, which hopefully I never do. I also won't have to redo any of my exhaust because I'm putting it back the way it was. Many of the designs that I was thinking of to remount this transmission to the car, I was going to have to redo a section of my exhaust, which just adds more and more work. And this is what I came up with. So we're gonna keep working on this. Transmission should be here soon, and we're just going to get as much work done in this video as we can, and then probably the next video we'll be putting the trans back in the car. One of the things I've already done too is pull the flywheel and pressure plate off of the car. Got to look at the old clutch, because I did pick up a new clutch and pressure plate. So I went with a spec branded. I can let you know what specific clutch I went with, but I've already got it rebuilt. Not rebuilt, but the throwout bearing and stuff all assembled already. And here's what the new clutch looks like. It's a full-faced clutch, and I think it's good for like 600 torque. I didn't need that high of a clutch, but the one below this one was like 500, and I was like, oh, that's kind of close to where I'm at, so I just went one step above. So that's this one, and the one that came off of the car was like destroyed. So here's the old one. It's pretty mangled. There's a lot of there's not too many marks on this side. You can see where a lot of, like, not clutch kicks, but that kind of, like, it looks like it. But this clutch is really, and I'm not an expert on like what they should look like, but it just looks in really bad shape. There's like a lot of purpling from where it's been getting hot, and there's like uneven wear, like right there, and just doesn't look good. And then this is probably the worst part, this flywheel. It's got a lot of deep scratches in it. I wouldn't say deep, but they're like, you can feel them with your hand. And there's a pretty deep scratch right there. The light's in the way. But unfortunately, I had to buy a new flywheel because of that. I thought I would be able to reuse this one, but turns out I'm not going to because of the condition of it. So I had to buy a new flywheel, a lightweight flywheel. So this is really making me reach down deep into my billfold because all of this stuff is expensive. I'm not going back with cheap stuff like I did originally. I feel like that's the reason why this transmission kind of got hurt the way it did, is because that clutch kit was only like 300 bucks. And it was just way too aggressive for street driving, which is what I pretty much do. So that's a lesson learned. I'm really hoping this one is going to be much better for the street, and we're going to find out. It's supposed to be a street type clutch, and it'll hold horsepower. So that's what we're dealing with. That's the new components. I don't have the flywheel yet, but I did buy new flywheel bolts. Even though my bolts in there are ARP, which I think you can reuse for the flywheel, but I bought new ones because I wasn't sure, but I also didn't research it much. So it's a big old mess under here, but this is where that old ear right here, that's what it looked like before. That's what I had to cut off in order to slide the transmission back. And here are the bolts that I've drilled through all the way to the inside of the car, and this will bolt on like that. I did put a new pilot bearing in the back of the motor. That's why I've got it taped up, because I was doing some grinding down here to get the metal clean. Also, another thing that I found while I was under here, which I'm really surprised I didn't catch earlier, which could be where I was getting a vibration from, because I still had a vibration after making all of the motor mounts and transmission mounts and diff mounts pretty much solid. I still had a vibration, and I might have found it right here, because this is where this this part of the transmission mount goes in like this, and that bolt goes through. But look how much play is in these holes. That's a lot of play. I feel like that play wasn't nearly as much before, and it's probably got elongated or wallered out from the vibrations of the transmission. So it's just moving like this. That's probably what made it so much bigger. So what I'm going to do is get a washer that fits this bolt perfectly, and then weld the washer onto here to take up the slack. So this can't move like that, because when I drilled this other side, it's a perfect fit. There's no play in that bolt, and I know it's dark under here, but there's no play in that bolt. So that's what we've got going on. So I've got to finish welding the bottom half of this kind of reinforcement plate. TIG weld that up. Unfortunately, I only have a TIG welder, which makes this like 100 times harder to be leaning over with both my hands full trying to fill it, filler wire. It'd be a really easy job with a MIG, but I don't have a MIG. So maybe if you guys have some good opinions on what the best MIG out there is right now, let me know down in the comments. I'm pretty proficient with MIG. I'm not a noob, and I do have 220 in the garage. So yeah, just let me know if you have any good ideas about maybe which I should get. Well, check out what just showed up. Finally got the transmission back, and you can see it's just in a cardboard box and didn't fare too well, but we'll open it up and see. But it's kind of funny, I shipped my broken transmission in a nice plastic container, and they shipped me back a built transmission in a cardboard box. It would have been nice if they just used my own tote and sent it back to me, but they didn't. Maybe I'm just being petty. Excuse the AC noise, but it's hot out. But this is the trans. Doesn't look much different, but you know, that's why you gotta trust a reputable shop to build it internally, because otherwise I can't really tell. I mean, got some new hardware on it. I could tell some of this sealant in here is new, but otherwise there's not too much you can tell. It's been done. It's all inside. So I checked the shaft play, and it seems a lot less than before. So I'll let you guys be the judge, before and after. Well, look what also came in. Got the Drift Motion lightweight flywheel. Looks really nice. I've already tested the pressure plate. It fits on there pretty snug on the alignment pins, but you know, that's a good thing and it'll work. And got the clutch, just testing it, looking to see how it fits. Fits really nice, so it's all looking really good. It's coming together. And looks like I don't have to return anything for not fitting. It's all fitting pretty good. And new hardware, and yeah.
Don't wanna sleep in, 'cause I got something to prove.
Okay, well that is all stitch welded in. Hopefully that's going to clean up pretty nice when I spray some gray paint back over that. It'll blend in hopefully, and won't look too bad. But that was pretty miserable, leaning over and trying to TIG weld that. I am not a professional with TIG, and I'm still definitely learning, so this was a really unique area to be in, trying to do that. MIG would have been a lot better and easier, but you work with what you got and turned out okay. One thing, I was using 1/16 inch tungsten, and I was using 3/32 filler wire, and that was kind of helping me maintain heat because I was going from a really thick steel plate to the thin sheet metal of the car. So using that bigger sized filler wire was kind of helping it cool down and not blowing holes, which worked really good actually. So now I'm going to get under the car and weld those washers on. Oh, that was quite difficult. You can still see the smoke coming off of it, but that washer is now welded on the best I could. It was really tough to get in this back corner here, but did the best I could and just try to weld the rest of it. So got the backside washer to do still, and then basically that bolt will have no play in it at all, up and down, left to right. So that's what we're working with. Get the other one welded in. Got the new mount painted up with some truck bed coating. And this is what I use and like to use. It's really durable and it's soft to the touch. Some truck bed coatings I've used is like really hard and gritty, but this stuff is pretty nice. I've got it on the underside of my side skirts and in a lot of other places, so it works pretty good. And I also undercoated the bottom of the car in the trans tunnel where I sanded it down, so all of that's done. And that's going to be it for this video. Got a lot of work done, and I've got all of the things that I need to go ahead and get this transmission back into the car. So next video we'll be installing all of this stuff, and hopefully we can get a test drive in and everything goes smoothly. So it's going to be a lot of work. Wish me luck. And yeah, I'll see you next video.